One time they came out with new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures. It was a long time ago. Ninja Turtles was already out, but they were doing this refresh on the action figure line. If anyone doesn't know what a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is, it's pretend. They're imaginary. And in it, like real turtles come in contact with radiation and it turns them into ninjas and teenagers. Because what's the coolest kind of person? Teenagers. Anyway, these new figures came out and they were really good. They looked really good. I remember I got the first one and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. This takes it to the next level. And every one that I got after that just amplified how great everything was, because I got to see the differences in each of them, but also how they complemented each other. And now you could have scenes and each one was bringing a new part of the show to life. And I got to the point as they started coming out with new figures where I could not wait for the next one to come out. I just can't. When are they going to do Splinter? When are they going to do Shredder? It was so exciting. According to Emanuel Swedenborg, the 18th century scientist and theologian who always is brought up in conversations about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures, two angels, to the people that have died and are now living in heaven, in the afterlife, to them, you are like a brand new Ninja Turtle action figure, and they cannot wait for you to come out. The moral of this episode is that angels are excited for you to get to heaven. That we got stuff we got to do here. We can't skip ahead there, but there is excitement. There's anticipation for when you get to heaven. And that happens within a larger context, because heaven itself gets better the more people who get into it. We're going to show the mechanics of how that works. So we build up to why. According to Swedenborg's experiences, this is like, yeah, come on, man, get over here. This is going to be great. In a couple of recent episodes, we mentioned that a whole community of angels, many thousand perhaps, can sometimes appear as a single angel. In the spiritual world, a lot of wacky stuff happens. You can see truths, deep truths about things in visual form. So because there's a bunch of people who live together in some part of heaven and they work together in this absolutely compatible way, that's like the way the human body works, every single organ and cell is like, okay, I'll contribute to the whole and I need this from you and you do this for me and I love you. That's how the body is. Because a group of angels are doing the same thing, there's a reality there that they're working like a body, and realities become manifest in the spiritual world. You with me? So you can see it sometimes. You can see a whole group of angels as just one person, which is like a demonstration of their unanimity and compatibility. This is an example of that Swedenborg recorded in his book Heaven and Hell.
High up toward the east, there appeared something that looked like a cloud, white at first, and then getting more and more red, surrounded by little stars. It came down, and as it gradually did so, it became brighter and finally took on a perfect human form. The little stars that surrounded the cloud were angels, who looked like that because of the light from the Lord.
So there's this awesome visual of many people making one, and he said perfect, a really great thing. That is the theme. That is what the nature of heaven does. It takes many things and makes a single whole that's better and better the more there is that working together. And that extends across the entirety of heaven. So not just that one community can be a person. All the communities together can be a single person. And so it's important that each community is different. Each community is doing its own thing. So if you were to see the single person representation of this community over here of angels that love some kind of connection community, that would be different than this angelic community over here of angels who love some kind of wisdom and study. Each person would look different. Each community person would look different. And here's the reason why, according to Swedenborg. The communities differ depending on the various good activities that they participate in and that give them their form. So every community is doing something different, just like every part of the body does something different for the whole. And in the spiritual world, the essence leads to the form. The reason this community appears like this is because that's the nature of it. Here, it doesn't always line up. The example I love to give is you can be a totally mean person, but you look beautiful. And that the essence is not lined up in the form. But there, you see the deeper reality through what appears. Those communities that are in the central or highest heaven and are at its center appear in the most perfect and lovely human form. So as you get to communities who are more and more God transparencies, I don't know. According to Swedenborg, no angel would ever say, "Look at me, I'm so great. I'm in the center." They would say, "No, this is just God is good. God is." The more that I'm getting out of the way and letting God work through me, the more I reflect God. And so you have this progression to the most lovely human forms in the places where most of God is coming through. But even there, even anywhere in heaven, which all different parts of it are needed, no two communities are exactly the same. No two people are exactly the same, because nobody can contribute or do what is good and think what is true exactly like anybody else. Of course, or else you would have a meaningless increase of numbers. It wouldn't matter that there was a bunch of us, because you could do the same thing with just one of us. So in the physical world, obviously, there's a lot of stuff. Variety is the hallmark of existence. You've got just the sheer number of species. And there are millions of species of organism on the planet Earth. There is just endless variety in the way things can look and be and see and do things. Heaven is full of that variety, but magnified up a scale. Why? Why is God, if God is making all this stuff, why is God so interested in making everything different? Because variety is this crucial element that makes whole things better. So we're talking about how angels are excited for you to get to heaven, as excited as I would be in my youth to open up a brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure. We already established this. It's beyond debate. The reason that they are, well, there's a couple of them. One is because they love you, but also your entry into heaven makes heaven better because of the nature of heaven. We were talking before about how variety is important. And here we want to talk about how also numerical growth is good in every way for heaven. We did a show called God's Appearance Changes When Visiting Different Communities in Heaven. And in that show, we talked about the importance of variety, both in the physical world and the spiritual world. But it's not just variety, it's variety plus numbers. In Heaven and Hell 71, Swedenborg says, "It is worth noting that the more members there are in a single community, and the more united they are in action, the more perfect is their form." So not just united, not just more, but both together makes perfection in form. This is because variety arranged in a heavenly form makes perfection. And variety occurs where there are many individuals. It's interesting. It's not, you could say, look, there's 50 of us. We're in this angelic community. We know what we like and we all get along good. This is good. Don't stir the pot. Don't mess with this, because this is as good as it gets. But technically, it will be better when there's more. Just inescapably, the same unanimity among more creates a better heaven. Swedenborg says in Heaven and Hell 71, every community in heaven is growing in numbers daily. Oh no, come on, what's that going to do to real estate prices, traffic? Growth is going to have its drawbacks, right? But you got to do it because it's nice to let people in. No. Here's what he says. The more it grows, the more perfect it becomes. In this way, not only is the community perfected, but heaven in general is perfected as well, since the communities constitute heaven. Is better. Everything gets better when you arrive in heaven because you have increased the variety, increased the perfection. There is a cool thought Swedenborg has about this in his book, Last Judgment. And Kara is going to tell us a little more about that.
This is Last Judgment, number 12. Heaven's perfection increases as the number of its inhabitants increases. This follows from its form, which determines the patterns in which people associate and the ways communication flows there. Heaven's form is the most perfect form of all, and in the case of the most perfect form, the more people there are, the more there is a shared motion toward oneness among them. And they are therefore joined together more closely and harmoniously. The harmony and consequent joining together increase as the numbers increase because each new constituent there is placed between two or more others in order to connect them together. And therefore the new element provides strength and connection. So I love this number because basically it's saying that heaven is the more the merrier situation. And it describes the mechanism for how that happens. Each newcomer to heaven is precisely placed between two or three other people in order to form a tighter and stronger link there. The word is affinis, which means something of a similar nature. So each person is placed with a similar nature to a few other people right in the middle for the sake of being a mediary presence or building a bridge between them. And from that comes harmony, consent, agreement, and that makes for a closer connection. And one thing I found that was interesting was the word inseritur, which was translated here as placed or inserted. That verb has two different meanings. And in all the translations I looked at, it was translated as placed, introduced, inserted between these two or three other people. But that word can also mean to plant or to graft onto or to be planted like a seed. And I just love that image. And you can't tell from looking at the Latin which word it is. But I love the image of thinking of it as each newcomer to heaven being like a seed that is going to grow up and like sort of entwine around the closest two or three people and just pull everything tighter together into a happier, more agreeable, more connected situation.
So when you get to heaven, it's not just exciting because it's you and you're happy and we're glad that you're here. Yeah, that's all cool. That's great. I'm not gonna blow by that. But also you have a role to play. You have something you can do. You make heaven better by your presence. And that's because everybody's different. So everybody occupies a different space in heaven. Remember, in the spiritual world, distance and direction have to do with state. So the more similar your mind and heart is to other people, the closer you are to them. The more similar your mind and heart is to God, the more you move toward God. So you have all these different angels in heaven. We pretend each of these represents a whole community of angels. And they're all in their place based on the kind of love and wisdom they have, what they want to do in life, and how they think and how they act on those things. There may be gaps, or there's always gaps. You may have really cool stuff here going on in third heaven that has to do with some kind of deep love that would really benefit from connecting to the wisdom that's going on here in the middle heaven. It could well be that when you show up, you have enough in you of both that you're the perfect link between these two. you make it so that not only have you brought your particular gift, but your gift makes it so their gifts and their gifts can work together more effectively to do what is good. It may be that this community in the first heaven is an important job this needs to do, but there's just not enough people able to do it. You coming in and having your knowledge and everything you learned in your life, all of your life experience, everything you know about the reality of love and truth, makes it so that you can not only bolster that community, but get more of a communication with the next community down the lane. Every single angel that comes in makes life better. There's no resource constraints. There's no physical space limitations. It's all a net positive. It's about the sharing of love and wisdom among members of the whole. The best analogy you could possibly think of for this is the analogy of screen resolution. Think about how stuff on a computer or a TV or a video game used to look. We didn't have that many pixels. We're trying to show this image. You don't have very many pixels to do it in, so you get the image, but it doesn't really look like what it's supposed to look like. It's not clear, it's not sharp, it doesn't have that same emotional impact. As resolutions grew, it was the same image, trying to do the same thing, but more pixels. Pixels are those little lights that light up that make it so you can display an image on a screen. As we get more of those, that image gets better. The image gets better. This is why everybody's like, well, yeah, that was cool. We had regular, but now we want HD. That was cool. Now we want 4K. I don't even know what it's up to right now. Do they do 8K? 9K? 9.5K? It's because the thing gets better for everyone the more there are. Heaven is like some image on a screen. Heaven is the divine pixel cluster. And you, by showing up, you increase the resolution of heaven for everyone. So angels in heaven who have this really sick living arrangement, everything's cool around them, their community is great. They are not thinking, all right, let's make sure nobody else shows up here. Angels are keenly interested in you showing up and making heaven better. And some people feel like, oh yeah, there's a limited number. Surely God is going to cap it at something. But actually that would ruin heaven. To stop admitting people into it would ruin the whole point of heaven. This is from Heaven Hails Everyone. Since heaven is perfected by its numerical growth, we can see how mistaken people are who believe that heaven will be closed to prevent overcrowding. It's just funny to think of like, all right, we're trying to put these chains up here. Heaven is too full. Actually, Swedenborg says, it's just the reverse. It will never be closed, and its ever-increasing fullness makes it more perfect. So angels long for nothing more than to have new angel guests arrive there. Angels, they have everything they want. Everything is great for them. And the thing that they're most excited about, Christmas for them, is let's share this with somebody else. We can't wait till you show up, because then we can give this to you. It's going to be better. Actually, Swedenborg talks about how heaven needs to be permanently increasing because God is infinite. And so that feeling of, wow, this is just beginning, that's a part of experiencing the infinite. So we need to always be in that feeling of, wow, this is just getting started. That's how we permanently connect with God. So there's always going to be this is just the beginning. This is the very beginning of civilization, heaven, everything like that. And so angels love it when people show up. And you don't even just have to take Swedenborg's word for it. People are having spiritual experiences all the time where they encounter this reality. Let's do some NDE welcome party accounts. If this doesn't hype you up for life being actually really great, even though it seems bleak all the time, nothing's going to do it for you. This is from Ned Doherty. Sorry, Ned. In front of us, this is his experience that he was having. He's in the afterlife when he sees this. In front of us, thousands of spiritual beings were communicating by musical sounds, feelings of goodwill to me. Oh, these are, I love you. I don't know exactly what that was like, but it sounds cool. I was overwhelmed by the awesome sight before me, but the feelings of love that were conveyed to me by the spiritual beings were even more overwhelming. The spiritual beings were cheering me, conveying loving encouragement and support. Let's go. Think about this. Next time you're sitting there and you're trying to pour my coffee and I did a bad job at work yesterday and nobody likes me and all that. Yeah, you can do it. You got this whole spiritual cheering section for you. You are the hero. You are like, that's cool. There's that vibe for everyone. Let's go. You're doing great. I'm a fan. I'm a super fan. This is from Grace. I was in the company of an innumerable amount of others who were just like me. This is during her near-death experience. Seeing this, it's just words on a page, but she was really seeing this. It was as though they were family that I didn't know or had forgotten. They knew all about me and were there to celebrate, comfort, ease, and move me ahead. Think about when you really love basketball and you know this player, you know, well, this is his percentage, this is his like win shares, and this is his effective field goal rate, and you know from his rookie year to his sophomore year he did this increase. They know that about you. When you're sitting there pouring your coffee, I did a bad job at work yesterday, nobody likes me. They're like, oh, I know all about you. I know all of these little struggles you've been through. I know all of these aspirations you have, all the good things you've done that you've probably forgotten about. What's around the court? Like they've got you know, you're like baseball cards of you. This is Dr. Mary Neal from her classic To Heaven and Back. When my soul broke through the surface of the water, I encountered a group of 15 to 20 souls, human spirits sent by God, who greeted me with the most overwhelming joy I have ever experienced and could ever imagine. That's pretty good, because imagination is pretty powerful. It was joy at an unadulterated core level. And what's the joy about? What happened? Oh, you arrived. You just showed up. That's what they're so hyped about. It's not like these people in these experiences had just won some championship in heaven. It's just like, oh, you're here. We are so excited that you're here because you're you, but also because you're going to make heaven better. Your arrival is good news for everyone who's in heaven. There are things that work like this in the world, if that sounds too good to be true. Think about the human brain. The reason it's so awesome, I don't know if mine is the best example for that, but the reason why the human brain is so awesome is that it's got a lot of connections. The more synapses or connections we have in the brain, the better the brain functions. From the National Library of Medicine's website, the brain's 100 trillion or so interconnections. If you feel like, oh, there's so many people, there's not compared to that. Provide the physical basis for its speed and sophistication. That mind-boggling, brain-boggling number is the reason why the brain is so good. If you had, how many human beings have ever lived? Something in the billions? If you had a brain with that many synapse connections, nah, it's not gonna be able to do that much. You are building towards this super computing heaven that gets better with everyone who plugs in there. And what if the brain is spreading around these electrical impulses, then what are all these connections in heaven doing? Spreading the love and the wisdom from God. In Heaven and Hell 72, Swedenborg describes this. The reason each community appears in human likeness when it is seen all together, remember we're talking about that in the beginning of the episode, as a unit, is that heaven as a whole has this likeness. There is a likeness of parts and whole, of lesser and greatest. The reason for this constant likeness is that in the heavens, all the qualities stem from a single love and therefore from a single source. The single love that is the origin of everything good in heaven is a love for the Lord, from the Lord. And the Lord is divine love itself. Love for love, from love. This is why all heaven is a likeness of him on the grand scale, and every community a likeness on a less grand scale, and every angel in specific. The function of heaven is to spread the love and the wisdom to the entire human race, wherever they may be. That's the greatest purpose that exists, and that is what the greatest machine is there to do. And you want that thing humming. You want it revved up and as connected as can possibly be, because it makes the quality of life for everyone better. So everybody, right now, you can see, oh, these ones, they're not in heaven yet, but it's probably good. It's all balanced. No. The more people who want to opt into this life that is centered around love, the better, because this person is going to provide connections between these and this and here, make the whole thing. Now the synapses are firing. More love, more wisdom are moving, because you knew a particular way to help people, to reach out, to change the world. Whatever your life has taught, whatever providence has taught you through your life, bam, you're connecting that stuff. Every single person who comes in leads to a connection between two parts that weren't as connected before as they could be. It's processing power, baby. It's like going from, if we're going to use all the examples from my youth, it's like going from Nintendo to Super Nintendo to Nintendo 64 to GameCube to Wii to Wii U to Switch. Come on, you don't know that? Things get better as the processing power increases. Heaven is processing God's love and wisdom and allowing it to exist in the world. And that gets better as you show up and join the party. I think all of us have had the experience at times of feeling like, what's the point of my life? Am I doing any good? Does anybody care that I'm here? Why are we even doing this? Think about now, who is somebody that you, I don't want to say idolize, but somebody that you really think is great. Somebody like maybe it's a sports figure of some kind. Maybe it's an actress or an entrepreneur, somebody that you're like, wow, this person's awesome. And you know there's a bunch of other people that are fans of this person. The way you feel about them, and if they were to say, what's the point of my life? You'd be like, of course there's a point to your life. You got to go and win this. You're winning this championship. You're doing this great movie. You're building this company that's changing the world. We all love you. What are you even talking about? That's how angels in heaven feel about you. There's some section of heaven that knows all about you and is absolutely rooting for you, sees great importance in what you're doing, and they're so excited for the work that you're not only doing on earth, but going to do when you find your community with them in heaven. You got fans. And those fans, and not just but the entirety of heaven is excited for you to arrive. Because not only are they super nice, and yeah, we want you to be happy, but your arrival is going to make heaven better for everybody. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting, fun stuff for angels in heaven, but the coolest thing ever for them is to bring you up to live that life with them. So that's good, man. That's good Monday motivation. You stick that in your coffee today and go out and do what you can do, and just know we're rooting for you.